Let's go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Okay, this is Dr. Rosie's Express Yourself Hour, and Dr. Rosie is away, and so her co-host, who normally rides shotgun, is in the seat, and she called me. She said that she wants me to talk about reparations. So I said her, knowing that I'm a radical, okay, I'm a structural realist. I said, you want me to actually do it your way or my way? Because her way is a safe way. My way can kind of veer off the safe path a little bit. So, because some of the things I may mention, I'm hoping Jamal will keep me in bounds, okay, because I don't want the powers that be to get too upset, is probably some things that you never heard of as far as reparations and how you should approach it. But do I have a guest, a co-host? If I have a co-host that will join me and open up their mic. But since I'm riding solo, and I actually do some of this stuff in other places, so I'm used to hosting. But she actually wants me to talk about reparations, and we're going to actually start from it historically, okay? Reparations comes from English law, right? Or even slavery law. English law where, okay, we're supposed to be indentured servants, right? And after your servitude period, you're supposed to get paid, okay? You're supposed to get land, you're supposed to get money to get started. And in the 1600s, they changed that, especially after, I think it was Bacon's Rebellion. Where the indentured servants, the Negroes, the indentured servants actually want to take over Indian land, and they had this big push, and they repressed that, so they had to separate the whites from the blacks, and they, instead of making black people indentured servants again, they started making them chattel slavery. In other words, basically, they reduce you to cattle. In other words, you were no longer a person, you were actually a possession. And that allowed them to give you perpetual slavery, number one, and number two, allowed your children to be in perpetual slavery. Now, at the end of the Civil War, okay, at the end of the Civil War, which people think is about slavery, is really more about money, in my opinion. They were supposed to repay their former bond servants or slaves reparations to do what? Make them whole. In other words, for 100 years, 75% of America's GDP came from the slave South, came from black bodies and black hands. And there had been, I think, in the 18th century, there was a movement to send slaves to Liberia. They actually, just like the UK sent all their slaves to Africa and bought them, bought them land, okay? There was a movement to send all former slaves to Liberia. In fact, Lincoln wanted to do the same thing. But the thing is, they didn't, is because you were making too much money for them. So all they did was change the status from slave to bond servant, or what we call Jim Crow. Jim Crow sharecropping, which is basically servant class, because you're making too much money. And then now, after the machines came in, they had to free you, okay? But the thing is, they never reparated you or paid you for your 200 years of service. And that's where reparations come in. Okay? By English law, by Western law, okay, they have to make you whole because they took from you. So reparation as a claim is a claim on their legal system. They had to do it for the Native Americans. They did it for the for the Jews in Germany. They did it for a whole bunch of people. Okay, we never got ours. The one slice that we did get was the Oklahoma Black and Indian Territory, which white people right after the opening of it, white settlers came in and took that over. So all the towns and all the wealth that was in Oklahoma, because Oklahoma had oil, they came in and white people came in and took that over. Okay, so they took that. That was supposed to be part of the reparations for blacks and Native Americans. So now we're here, and we're still trying to get made whole from 200 years of servitude. And that is our history. And so there's been, over the last 150 years, there's been all kinds of claims for reparations, not only on our side, but also on the white side, okay? Since they created Liberia. Okay, Liberia is supposed to be our reparations. In other words, they gave us land, they gave us a little bit of money, they ship us out and settle us someplace else, okay? Which is what Lincoln actually really wanted to do. Lincoln wanted a white ethno state. And so he was going to ship you to Haiti, to Guyana, ship you to what we call Belize, and also to Liberia. But you were making way too much money, and they couldn't let you go. So now we're here. All that stuff has changed. And so now reparations is still at hand because it hasn't been done. So now the whole world has basically changed. So what should we do for reparations? How should we go about it? Okay. Is it still viable with the state that the United States is in as far as finances? Okay. Do they still have money? Can they still pay us? Is there political stuff that's in the way about giving us money or giving us reparations? Because anytime you pay a bulk sum of money of that amount, and some people say that the amount we should be paid is really between 17 and 20 trillion dollars. As far as if you want to settle all the claims and all the interests and compounded interest from over 200 years of servitude, that's what it will actually come out to, which is a sizable sum. Okay, $20 trillion gives you more money than, I would say, 80% of the countries out there. They will not only give you money, but power. And the last big push we had was the ADOS movement. Okay, and I was just talking about this. You had an ADOS movement that had some political juice. It started online with Yvette Carnell. And it was during a time where the Democratic Party was in jeopardy because of Hillary Clinton, and you had Donald Trump in office. You had the Republican Party actually in disarray. You had a failed policy in Syria. There's a whole bunch of stuff that was actually going on. You had this big push against China to keep them out of the world seat or out of world power. There's a whole bunch of stuff that was actually going on at the same time. So reparations was actually seriously considered because they wanted to settle this disagreement. And so that had actually rose up inside the Democratic Party, which was actually having a whole bunch of problems. And Yvette Carnell caught fire and caught the juice and started pushing it forward, and where they were actually debating it on during the Democratic debates, presidential debates. Okay, had a lot of juice. And the thing is, what happened to that movement, which probably had more movement than any other reparations movement that I've seen during my lifetime, is what happens to most movements of this type. Okay, splintering. Okay, you had a counter proposal, which is FBA. Okay, FBA and ADO started going back and forth with each other about what should be done and who should be qualified, yada yada yada, right? And that allowed the Democrats to actually slip out during the middle. While we were fighting, they actually slipped out. They actually tipped out the back. They really haven't brought it back up since. You hear it here and there, like in California, you might hear it in like Ohio, they'll bring it up. Okay, there's never any money behind it, but there's always like a carrot that they hold in front of black people. But the major reparations movement, okay, it was pretty much squashed. So now, how do we rebuild it? Okay, what is necessary? Okay, what would you like to see? And anybody can come up because if you're on, you can jump in at any time. So open your mic and jump in if you want to talk. Because like I said, I just went over this, and there's three major questions about reparations that I've come across that people have issue with. Okay, there's a faction that says that civil rights paid us off, that we don't need reparations. It's because civil rights was our reparations. Okay, I disagree with that because civil rights could have been that, but thing is, 87% of civil rights benefits actually went to white women. Okay, and we didn't get it. 87% was actually handed over to white women. Okay, if you look at affirmative action, if you look at DEI, that kind of stuff, 87% doesn't go to black people. Okay, that was actually meant for black people in particular. White women were never supposed to be on that civil rights bill. Sex was never supposed to be added to it. That was something that was cooked up between black and white feminists. So we didn't get it. So could that have happened? Could that have paid off black people where we wouldn't be having these discussions? Possibly, okay? Low interest loans, education loans, all that kind of stuff could have been done. Startup businesses, stuff like that, it could have been done. But thing is, civil rights didn't do it, okay? It gave us some benefits, okay, as far as not being accosted or lynched or having your houses burned down. It gave us a means of safety and means of access, but it didn't repair us like it should have. You go back to the Kerner Commission, where they outline and where the benefits of civil rights were actually supposed to come from. Okay, they actually outline. You go back. There's a page book called the Kerner Commission. All the civil rights benefits that we enjoy today are all in that book. Okay, local policing, ability to sit on juries, your voting rights, your FHA loans, all that kind of stuff is all in that book. Right at 1968, okay, where they actually implemented the benefits. And my mentor, he says there's only two ways to stop a revolution, right? Either you get rid of the people or you settle the grievances, okay? Civil rights was supposed to be settling the grievances, and partially it did. Partially it did, but reparations, the actual payment, like Dr. King said, we're coming for our check. We're actually coming for our check, okay? The check was never completely given to us. We got a partial payment. And I think reparations would have been the final payment. So, let me look on, Dr. Doc had some questions she actually wanted me to go over, okay? Bullet points, okay? Is one united national strategy necessary if reparations are ever going to become a reality? We already talked about that, okay? Had we gotten behind the ADOS movement 100% and not splintered the movement, okay, that was probably our best chance, because that one actually had the juice. Whether we agreed with it or disagreed with it, Barbara, if you want to jump in, you're welcome. Agree with it or disagree with it, we should have gotten behind it because that had the most juice, okay? That had momentum. And I was afraid at the time that black people were actually going black people and splintered the movement, which they did, okay? And gave the Democrats an out. Because all they did was give them a way to actually avoid the situation, which they gladly took. And once we started splintering, they never brought it back up again. It was 2018. Then they never brought it back up. They took that out. Said, "Oh, the Negroes are fighting. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna tip out the back." And that's what they did. So, do we need a national voice to get behind one movement? We do. Like it, nothing's gonna be perfect. Okay, Yvette Carnell's ADOS movement was not perfect. But the thing is, it had momentum. She all got behind that momentum and tried to push it forward, and then settle whatever differences afterward. Okay, that never happened. Anybody, you just open your mic and jump in if you want to jump in. Have too many competing organizations weaken the movement. Yes, that is the problem. There was a problem in civil rights. Okay, there was a problem post emancipation. Okay, there's always that problem. The thing is, black folks like to fracture. For whatever reason, we like to be independent, we like to be the smartest people in the room. Okay, that causes the fracture, and white people know this, and they feed into this. And that's what and the FBA versus the ADOS movement was the exact perfect storm. You actually saw it in real time. And I was saying at the time because I know Tariq Nasheed and I know Yvette Carnell was actually saying, y'all need to settle this behind closed doors and get behind one voice, okay? You don't need two separate camps because they're going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what they did. And if anybody wants to join in, okay, you can. What can we learn from the unity displayed during the civil rights movement? Once people got fed up and once people actually knew what they wanted, okay, it moved very fast. There's a couple things that we could have found out. One, white people needed to actually assimilate us. Okay, that's what they needed. Okay, they needed to actually settle the grievance, to actually assimilate us, to actually hold power over the rest of the world. It's because they were the so-called flag bearer of Western civilization at the time. So they needed us to calm down, pay us off, and basically you got to remember, from 1963 to 1972, we burned down 300 cities. It wasn't like it was a peaceful time. No, okay? Black folks got busy. Black folks were not peaceful. Black folks were fed up, and black folks were actually doing some damage to cities. So it's doing this damage to the economy and cities and scaring the hell out of people, okay? So they had to do something. That's why the Kerner Commission came in, because they burnt down 68. They burned down 33 cities, okay? They had 33 riots during 1968. So that's how come Johnson said, hey, you got to go in and figure out what these people actually want. When they finally got fed up and actually came together, and they said, we want our check. So they actually had a list of demands that they actually wanted. They went all the way down the list and gave you everything that you wanted. They put all those laws that we take advantage of right now, as far as having bank accounts and federal home loans and stuff like that. That all came from 1968, when we actually got fed up and got together and actually got busy. That's what we can learn from civil rights, okay? Instead of these fractured movements all over the place, okay, you got behind one voice. You got behind Dr. King, like him or not. No, everybody didn't like Dr. King. But Dr. King had the juice, so everybody got behind him. Even Malcolm X and Nation of Islam got behind Dr. King because you needed one voice. That's one thing that we can learn, and that's what actually pushed you forward, because he had the voice, he had the juice. You got to find out what's the best way to get across the finish line and get behind that. And sometimes we don't do that. A lot of times we don't do that. That's how come we haven't had a civil rights movement since then. We have all these competing voices, okay, trying to have the best plan. I was just on a call with a whole bunch of people with the same noise, okay? With the same noise. And a lot of this stuff is feeling based. Instead of actually getting out there, seeing not only what you want, but what you can get. A lot of time in this world is what you can get, not what you want. Okay, what can be allowed? Okay, what in the environment can allow you to actually get what you want or get partially what you want? Um, are we educating our children enough about economic history and wealth building? No, but that's all kids. We're not even educating our kids, period, for the most part. Okay, all this education, because my daughter's a teacher. Okay, they're dumbing all these kids down. White, black, Mexican, doesn't matter. They're all dumbed down. So we are not. The education is a whole nother show that we can actually go down that rabbit hole. Okay, and this is intentional, and it's going to get worse because they're getting ready. I was actually looking at as a side note, I was actually looking at Rubini, who's the economist. Used to be part of, I do believe it was Rubini used to be part of Bill Clinton's cabinet. Okay, as an economist, and he was saying. The next 10 years are going to be hell is because the machines are here to stay. Okay? Your population is going down. Machines are here to stay. And economically, the United States is not going to be what it was because you have the global South switching sides and taking over the global dominance. So the white people and the European people, okay, they're on this side of being cooked. They're not well done, but they're medium rare right about now. Okay, so and we're in that boat. So we're actually going to go through things. So they're dumbing down the kids. It's because the machines are coming in. Okay, there's certain things they need as a build out to actually build this new world. They're competing against China, who China is the manufacturing base of the world. That to compete against them. There's a whole lot of things that they haven't prepared these kids, especially the boys, for. So are we educating our kids? No. And the thing is, we left them to the phones and the screens. We don't even sit down and do the homework with them anymore. So yeah, but that's a whole other story. I said, should young people become the next generation leading this conversation? Okay. The thing is, you're going to have to lead the conversation a different way. You can't do reparations the way you did reparations in the 18th and 19th century. Okay, that's 200 years ago. 21st century, you had to have different ideas and different ways of doing things. I was just talking to Jamal. Okay, there's three parts of reparations that black people always disagree with. One, we don't deserve it because we already got it through civil rights. Okay. Two. Black folks are irresponsible. If you give them money, they're actually going to blow it. Okay, so don't give it to them, right? Because they're just going to actually mess it up until we actually educate these people. And the third is what do we do with it? If we do get it, how should we actually implement it? Okay. There's the pedestrian way and there's the smart way. Now, the pedestrian way is very simple, straightforward. They give you a cash payment, blah, blah, blah. You go do what you do. Okay? Which is what white people, if they had their drugs, that's actually what they want. You're just going to spend it back into the economy. Okay? It don't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay? My way, okay, which is a sovereign wealth fund, okay, it actually gives you power. So we can actually do reparations right, okay? I think we should do a different way. The thing is, what do black folks actually want? They want comfort. They do actually want power and change. Those two very different things. Comfort is you get your cut of the $7 trillion. I don't know exactly what amount that would be. One-time payment, buy your house, buy your car, go splurge, whatever you're going to do. Okay, and within 10 years, it's evaporated for the most part. Okay. Power is different. If you have a sovereign wealth fund, which is a bank, okay, then you can actually use what they call the bank is which is fractional reserve. Okay, you multiply your money because you're actually making loans against your sovereign wealth fund. You can actually do it and multiply your leverage 10 times. In other words, instead of $7 trillion, you got 70. And then you can make loans. Then you can make moves. If you want housing, okay? In my opinion, with reparation, you want housing for black people. Number one, you hire some people. Instead of profits, what we're going to do is actually build houses for black people with 2% loan, okay? So in other words, instead of building a house for $500,000 and BlackRock or somebody else making a ton of money off it, no, we're going to actually build it for $100,000, 2% loan, and we're actually going to build high quality housing for the cheapest rate. Because we're actually hiring the people and hiring the builders to actually build houses for people. A sovereign wealth fund, okay? Same thing with education, okay? We can actually fund our schools, private schools, colleges, whatever, okay? We actually fund it. We can actually fund things like artificial intelligence and computer processing, right? Okay, $1 billion, $100 million, we actually started a whole computer revolution with the right startups here and abroad. You can have AIs just like the Chinese do. Chinese actually start their AIs with like $100 million, okay, instead of $1 trillion, because private investors want a huge stake, like 200% on their money, okay. Sovereign wealth funds don't care about that. Care about giving black people jobs. So, in other words, say you have a beauty shop, or you want to do hair, import hair, instead of buying the hair at the highest rate over in Korea or China, wherever you're actually buying it from, right? Okay, you can say, hey, look, we got $1 trillion, $1 billion to actually buy hair. Okay, we want the lowest rate, import directly, and import it directly to our shops. Same thing with manufacturing. Same thing with cars. Same thing with bags. Whole bunch of stuff we can actually open up with a sovereign wealth fund. Okay, and that's just domestically. Okay. Say you want to start trade or with resources, say with the continent, with Latin America, okay? If you got a sovereign wealth fund and you want to build infrastructure and start selling products or importing products or actually exporting products, you actually do that, right? It's because with $1 trillion behind you, at your tail, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, okay? I was talking to Jamal about something simple like what's going on right now with the fertilizer. Because there's two main areas that actually make fertilizer, which is Russia, and then you have which makes 50% of the fertilizer, and you have the Gulf Coast, which makes like the other 25 to 30% of the fertilizer. Okay, and what you need is natural gas. What do we have in Angola, in Congo, in Nigeria? We have a whole bunch of natural gas. Okay. Africa buys natural gas from fertilizer from where? From Russia, or they buy it from the Middle East. We can make our own. We can actually fund that project. We actually fund infrastructure. We can actually ship out products from the interior of Africa and sell it here or sell it abroad. We start our own business, start our own wealth fund, start our own enterprises, and actually have power instead of wealth, instead of comfort. So what percentage of your reparations plan would actually put the USD in the hands of black consumer? Black people are going to have to spend some of this, if only to get out of the system so we can make better, smarter, long-term investments and decisions. And Brother Jamal, okay, you can put it in the consumer things. What do people need? What do black people need? Jobs, okay? They need jobs. They need a way to make money, okay? The thing is, what do you consume? Hair, cars, houses, okay? A low interest loan on a house, say the house in the United States, average house is like $500,000, okay? If I can give you it's 7-8%, okay? It's a lot of money. If I can build the same house for $100,000 and give you a 2% loan, okay, the consumer's made money, saved a lot of money. Instead of sending my kid to college for $20,000 a year, $25,000 a year. I can give you a loan. I can give you funded, and I send that kid to school for damn near free. Now save them $100,000. Okay, I can import electric cars. With permission of the government, electric cars, tiny homes, apartments. Import your own product. You don't have to be a consumer. You actually import your own products. Start your own business. Start give jobs to other people, other black people. So now we have leverage. I think the Indians and the Chinese and other people that actually come into our abode can actually do so much because they have leverage. Okay, what we need is leverage. How can we actually turn our black people from consumers to what? Producers. It's called leverage. Okay, if I could design one national plan for reparations, what it would include? Okay, I already said it. Okay, one, figure out what the bill is. Okay, they're not going to give us 17 trillion or 20 trillion. We'll take half, say 8 to 9. Okay, instead of it being paid directly by check to people, sovereign wealth fund. You can actually make loans against the account. Low interest loans against the account. That's the best way to do it. Instead of paying 10%, you pay 2 or 1. But the fractional reserve system will actually work for you and make you wealthier. You want to buy that big house? Want to buy the big car? Guess what? Go to the black bank. Go to the reparations bank. Get your loan. Get your car. Get your car loan for 1%. Insurance company, instead of paying exorbitant amounts for insurance, start your own insurance company. Lower the cost of living for black people. Food too high? No problem. Okay. You had whole regions on the continent, build an infrastructure, import that food from the continent into our own grocery store that we build, that we start. Whether it's community stores or black-owned grocery stores or whatever, right? Build them there, fund them. Got plenty of money to actually fund them now. Import our own food from our own suppliers, because now we have that juice to actually go directly to the supplier instead of actually going through middlemen. You got $30 trillion that you have to work with. Okay. Africa, we want rice, we want chocolate, we want whatever, right? We want cassava, we want sweet potatoes, we want beef, whatever, right? Okay, you grow it, we'll actually import it here. We want batteries for our electric cars, our electric bikes. Okay, China. You guys open up a factory on the continent to actually make these batteries, make these components. And send our people over there to actually supervise it, because we actually own the business, own those businesses. Actually start shipping these products out to Europe, to Latin America, to Asia, wherever, right? And to us. Consumer will actually be a better benefit instead of giving them a check, okay? Lower their cost of living. That's where you have to sell it, okay? You can live a much better life with leverage than you can with just a check. And actually dictate some of your own rules. We as blacks need to use our mind and utilize our mindset to acquire what we need to figure out how to get what is needed to help us and our families. Okay, the thing is, after 50 years, you know what you need, right? You need education, you need businesses, you need financing, okay? You need resources, okay? And the reason you do it this way is instead of getting 7 trillion, you get 70 of leverage, okay? Leverage is way more important because the United States uses this stuff all the time. Where do you think they get their money from, okay? It's leverage. They borrow that stuff. They put out bonds, okay? They sell bonds. We can sell sovereign wealth African American bonds for 1 or 2% or 3%, and go and start businesses over on the continent and bring back what 4 or 5, 6, sometimes 10% back. Okay, that's where your money comes from. That's the way they do it. That's the way China does it. That's the way Europe does it. You get a 10%, 20% return on your money when you do it this way. That's wealth coming back into the country, back into your pockets, back into fund whatever you want to fund. You can build colleges and universities over there where it's cheaper and fund it there. Send your kids to the continent to be educated and give them your curriculum and give them your teachers. Put your tech in. Instead of paying $100,000 to actually educate them here, send them there for 10 or 15. Send them to the medical schools, like in Cuba, or send Cubans to actually teach medical school in Ghana or Nigeria or South Africa, right? Okay? Send your kids to medical school. Send your engineers over there. Bring them back. If they're over there making fertilizer and gasoline and stuff like that, and they're learning over there, actually building business, the wealth comes back to you. Instead of spending wealth, we're actually going to build wealth. That's what I would do. A lot of people say, okay, black folks are just going to blow the money. Okay, instead of giving it to them, let them borrow it at a low interest, okay? You know what? Give them a debit card. Give them a credit card. Hey, we're going to charge you 2% interest on this credit card to buy whatever you want. They still have to work. If we get them jobs, they still have to work. They still have to do what? Participate. They'll actually get more with that credit card or that debit card at 1 or 2% interest than the actual check. It's because the fractional reserve will actually work for you. Then you can actually come with leverage to Africa, to Latin America, to even Europe. Okay, go to Germany. Hey, we got $1 trillion for you. Okay, open up a plant, open up a school for us. Got leverage. Then you become a player instead of being played. In my opinion, that's what I would do. Anybody want to jump in? You're welcome to jump in. If you guys got thoughts, because like I said, I'm a radical. Because I've been studying this stuff for like 40 years. So I'm a radical. I see how China actually did what they did over the period of like 35 years. And how they built their stuff. How Africa can be built and how it can actually participate. Okay? I was actually saying the biggest opportunity we had was during when Colin Powell was actually alive, during AFRICOM. Okay? They needed a way to actually push the Chinese out of Africa, okay? And they have spent $30 trillion trying to keep China from taking over. $30 trillion. With Iraq and Iran and Iran, Syria, Libya, they spent $30 trillion on that, okay? They could have spent 5 to 7. Brought in black people to develop the continent itself, okay? And kept them in their sphere. It would have been a win-win for the United States. They'd saved a whole bunch of money. They'd paid us off. Black folks would have made a ton of money. Developed the whole continent instead of the Chinese, which Africans actually wanted us to do. A lot of things could have been done. A lot of things still could be done, because now, if Europe and America could go back, they would have done it back then, 20 years ago. Would have actually taken that deal. Colin Powell actually offered them, let black people actually come in and actually protect and develop Africa. Okay, they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Give them the money, give them a sovereign wealth fund, give them the reparations, put in a sovereign bank, and distribute the money. Start money making businesses instead of being a consumer, be an owner of this thing. Stop begging for, you know, a check. Stop begging for white folks to do something for you. Give us the money. Let us do it, and let us do it our way, where we have control. Anybody want to jump in? Y'all can jump in. But that's where the ADOS movement went awry, and that's where we keep going backwards as far as reparations. Okay, because we're thinking in the 18th and 19th century instead of the 21st. This is the way things roll in the 21st century. Okay, China just showed you the model of how you do things. The new model is the way China's actually doing it. Okay, start slow, build your infrastructure, leverage your people and your money. Okay, 20 million, 40 million people cannot leverage the whole planet. But guess what? You can actually use the money that you have to actually leverage other people and make their life better, and get the interest off of making their life better. Their life gets better. They have resources that will actually share with you and do business. Guess what? Your business will grow. Europe does it all the time. Asians do it all the time. I think Asia is developing so fast. They do business with each other. They invest, they make infrastructure, and they start business. They start selling things, okay? Africa has a ton of potential, okay? We cannot do this by ourselves, in my opinion. We can't do this by ourselves. You have to leverage the whole continent. You got 2 billion black people on the planet, okay? Leverage that, make that your leverage, okay? Look, United States, guess what we're going to do, okay? We'll actually work this thing for you. Give us the money. Because you're going to screw it up. Let us do it. We know if we don't do it this way, you're going to put all kind of stops on us. But guess what? It's going to work for you too. But you're actually going to get your cut. You get your cut, we get a cut, and they develop. Win, win, win. And that's how we have to sell it. The thing is, you're not going to unify everybody. Civil rights, it was only about 15% of the people, at best. 15%. Your top 15% of people actually dictated civil rights. Okay, it wasn't all the people. It never is. Just a small percentage of people that are at the top actually leverage this kind of stuff. Just to wait for all the black people to actually unify doesn't work that way. The thing is, we have to start doing things that make sense. And that's how you get people to unify. Look at the numbers and forget all the emotions about what you feel that you want, what you feel that you deserve, what the numbers say. This is the model. These are the numbers. This is how things work. And these will probably be your results. And most people don't have a counter to that. Anybody can open their mic and jump in. Unless you guys just want to listen to me talk about reparations. There's more controversial stuff about who you need to charge for it, like the people that sold us, not the people who just bought us, but the people that sold us. Okay, we're not even going to get into that because it's too controversial. I'm going to cut it off there. But thing is, there's ways of doing things. I asked my brother who was just over in Botswana for 2 years, right? And it's hard to do business in Botswana because guess we don't have leverage, right? They actually don't, kind of reluctant to actually let you in. I said, you come in with $1 trillion, will they actually let you in? He said, yes. Why? You have leverage. How do you leverage the system to make it work for you? Okay? Chinese have shown you the model. They didn't change the model. They changed the leverage. Okay? The model is set in stone. You're not going to change it. Okay? It's too big. How you actually leverage the environment and the model that actually work for you. That's what I would do. The things are actually in place where you actually do this. The thing is, are you willing to take advantage of the model that already exists? Okay? Fractional reserve banking has been with us for, 20 years? Okay? Use it. The biggest sovereign wealth fund in the world is Norway, 1.2 trillion. Okay, leverage. Okay, it's not just money. Leverage. Okay, we walk in with 50. You're a global player at 50. And it's not what can you do. What do you want to do, and where you actually want to do it. Don't have to do it here. Have leverage all over the planet. You have leverage. Okay, go to Asia. You want something done in a factory in Vietnam to make you Nikes or whatever Prada purse you actually want with your brand on it. You got leverage. All the hip hop artists who want to sell their brands, okay, they got leverage. Hey, Rihanna, Jay-Z, Megan, whoever you want, right? Get behind this brand. We got manufacturers, we got people. You be the face. Got leverage. You want to sell education? Got leverage. You want a retirement homes for old folks in other countries like Ghana, South Africa, Panama? At one-fifth the price, got leverage. You want whole communities for people. They'll let you do it, but why? Because you got leverage. We need to stop begging, in my opinion. Okay, what we have been doing is begging. Okay, how you actually leverage the environment. Okay, you need to stop China or global South. Okay, we can do that. We can help you with that. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. We can do the exact same thing that China's doing with your money, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you some control. Europe is not going to like you. Europe is not going to like America doing that because they can't eat the way they want to eat. We have to use reparations and all these kind of things to actually do what? Leverage. Leverage counts more than anything else on this planet. Why do you think we have the biggest army? It's called leverage. Why do you think Nixon got the petrodollar? He threatened to take away NATO from Europe. They backed off. Leverage. What's going on right now in Iran and Ukraine? It's called leverage. Iran's actually using their leverage to actually fight off the United States. Okay, leverage. Leverage works. It's something that Mearsheimer said that he said the powerful do what they want, and everybody else suffer what they must. Okay, let's stop suffering. Let's be a player instead of a pawn. Let's have leverage instead of so-called consumer goods, consumer wealth. Let's go for the big money. Instead of a check, no, get your debit card, get your a low-interest loan, start your business. Fly to Ghana, fly to South Africa, fly to Kenya, fly to South America. Okay, we need resources from you. You actually want to start this product line to be sold. And what you got? Well, we got $1 trillion for you, boss. What do you want? Let's start there. Oh, okay. You want that factory built? You want that petroleum installation built? We can do that for you. We got engineers, we got money, we got people. You want it built? Well, we got to run it. We want a 60% stake in that. Okay? You're gonna sell it all over the world. You want your products out of the continent? Okay? Waterways, ports. Okay? Roadways, refrigeration. Okay? Do all that. Fertilizer for your crops. Do all that. Educate your kids? Fine. We want leverage. We want power. Y'all really quiet, man. Y'all jump in. Anybody?
Good morning, Keith. This is Brenda.
Hey, Brenda.
Hope everybody's having a good day. This is a great discussion. I had put in the chat unity.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I said that is because when you look at people that have gained
Mm-hmm.
some of what they had coming,
Mm-hmm.
they approach the authority or the leadership of this country as a group and
Mm-hmm.
said, this is what has been done to us collectively, and
Mm-hmm.
this is what is due to us. We
Mm-hmm.
all know, we all agree that we are rightfully due reparations,
Uh-huh.
but how are we ever going to be taken seriously if we can't come together as a group of people to decide how we're going to move towards that direction? What does reparations mean? What is it going to look like to
Mm-hmm.
us? Is it going to be getting us all out of debt, giving us property, land?
Mm-hmm.
We have to come together as far as a group to see what we want as a people and study the people that have already accomplished this, like the Chinese
Mm-hmm.
and other people that have done it, even the Indians that have gotten a small part of what they were due. They didn't get what they were rightfully due, but they
Mm-hmm.
got something.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to study those people. That has to be case studies to see how it was done.
Uh,
That's my humble opinion.
okay. We know what black people actually need, right? Okay.
Yes,
Top five. You can name them. What do you need?
we need land.
Yeah, there's tons of land all over the planet.
We need
Okay.
to own ownership of
You,
land.
tons of ownership of land all over the planet. Okay. So I'm well funded. You can actually buy land, blocks. Okay.
Right.
Okay. What do you need? You need what? Jobs. Okay.
Absolutely. Education.
Education. Okay. What else?
Uh, uh, let's see. We need
Opportunity.
schools. We need schools. We need our own schools because when you say education, that's kind
Uh-huh.
of a blanket. And we know that certain things are not working out for us in the educational system. So we need our own schools, our own teachers. And we need to make it an incentive for people to want to do these professions the
Okay.
way that they used to because they're not interested in doing it. Our kids have gotten out of control where it's a liability to be a teacher in some cases. So we've got to make these things a level playing field that people don't feel that their lives are in jeopardy when they teach our children, that our
Mm-hmm.
children are able to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I
Okay.
think that collectively we can have these brainstorms that we can come
Okay.
together and come up with solutions.
So land, education, school. Well, education and schools go together. Okay.
Yes.
So those two. What else? You said jobs. Number three. What else? Yeah, two more.
I think we need our own farms.
Okay, on farms. Which you can have. Okay. Um, not only here but also abroad. You know, I need them all here. Okay. Uh, and the last one. Think of anything? Okay. The thing is, we have to find out. We actually know what we need. Okay. Who funds all of that? Where you get the money from? Because at the bottom of this, somebody's got to fund it, right? Schools, buying land, farms, industries, jobs, got to be funded, right? Where's the money come from? That's why sovereign wealth fund makes sense. Instead of getting 7, you get 30. Okay, $1 trillion can actually fund your whole educational system. You know, pretty for the most part, right? Along with whatever the state will actually give you. Okay, now, you can't get control of is because the state actually has a sanction over that. Okay, you know, by design. Okay, you can't let people just go off the deep end. You have to have some kind of control over education. I don't care where you go. But as far as land, okay, um, you're not going to have a separate black state. Okay, that doesn't exist anywhere. Okay, because that causes problems. They're not going to allow that, especially in the United States. Okay, they're not going to allow that. The thing is, when we say land, what do you need land for? And where do you actually need the land? Is it here in the United States? Is it on the continent? Is it in Latin America? Where you actually need the land?
I think the land is needed here in the United States.
Okay. There's tons of land. So what kind of land do you need? You want it undeveloped? Do you want it developed? What do you need?
It can be undeveloped land. I mean, that's the basis of where everything starts with. It starts with undevelopment, and you as a people or as an individual develop it into whatever it is that you want or whatever you're looking for.
Okay. It's called infrastructure, right? Okay. If you had the same infrastructure, say, on the continent, say in Ghana or Kenya, and you could actually live there and prosper and have business, would it matter whether you lived here or not?
I think I would rather live here.
Okay. Oh, but the thing is, you could live anywhere, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But you asked me where would I rather live?
Yeah. Does it matter? I said, does it matter where you live? Okay. Say if you had a better life in Ghana than you do here, or a better life in South Africa, okay, where would you be? Go where you have a better life. But say if you did it here, okay, how do you actually acquire the land? Okay, two ways, right? You guys either buy it outright or do what? Low interest loan. How do you think BlackRock does it? How do you think all the other people do it, right? Say you want a block of houses, okay, or a whole community, right? You have a sovereign wealth fund. You actually pay the builder, or actually hire your own builders, okay? Okay, we need a bunch of houses at this rate, at this amount, okay, and then fund it with a 1% loan from our own bank. Because it's not about making money; it's about what supplying our people what they need. Instead of paying what's the average house now? What $400,000, $500,000 average house? Okay, we'll make it 100. Same house, better community. Instead of paying 10% on a $500,000 house, you're paying 1% on a $100,000 house. Okay, lower your what cost of living. You can do that, right? Because you got the jack. You got $30 trillion to actually invest, which is a lot. Say you want to train, say HBCU needs a data center to train kids for computer science. Okay, you can actually call for $1 billion for that. Nothing. Got 30 trillion. A billion is actually nothing. Give it to them. Fund this. What kind of tech you need? You need infrastructure. You need computers. You need data centers. You need a whole data center. We can actually do that. You want to start an AI collective at Howard or another HBCU, or Fisk or something like that? Sure. Hey, here's $1 billion. Go ahead and fund that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because now you have the control instead of asking daddy government. You just do it because you have the money. You have the leverage. Okay. Instead of taking a check, no. We're going to actually vie for power. What do you actually need? Okay. What do you need the money for? House, done. Okay. Have your house note down to what? A big ass house. Instead of paying $2,000, you paying $200 or $500. Lower your cost of living. Want a car? You want it from here. You want it from China. You want it from Europe. Okay. Buy it directly at a lower rate. Funded by our bank. A better life, better education, better health care, better schools, better neighborhoods, and actually start networking to actually have jobs through trade. Okay, trade is where you get your jobs from. You import soybeans, you import cocoa, you import blah blah blah. Start your own chocolate factory. Imported cocoa from Ghana or Ivory Coast at a cheaper rate. Start your own candy factory. Start your own beauty line product. Or you want to do weaves? Guess what? You want a better rate for your hair when it comes over from India, or set up your own factory in India or Asia to make your own hair, and then ship it over at a lower rate, and then make money on the markup. Sell skincare products to white people with cocoa butter and black soap and all that kind of stuff. Sell it to them. Sell fertilizer to white people here, to farmers from Ghana, from Angola. Yeah, unmute and jump in if you want to jump in.
I would like to say something, Keith.
Go ahead.
I was listening to everything that you were saying, which is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to say is we have everything that we need as Black people.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to use our mindset
Mm-hmm.
to do what is needed for
Mm-hmm.
us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you were saying, China, the Japanese, every other nationality,
Mm-hmm.
we work around people every day.
Mm-hmm.
You see, well, I do. You see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So all we need to do is mirror match, but make sure it's for us and our families.
Mm-hmm.
It's, honestly, Dr. Milligan and Dr. Frazier has always said, no one is going to save us but us. There's
Mm-hmm.
no one going to save us. A lot of my friends, doctors, attorneys, just with degrees,
Mm-hmm.
but they even have the mindset is idiotic. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
They've been socialized and trained and brainwashed to think a certain way. Yeah.
Right. And I just tell them, all you need to do is somewhat mirror match.
Mm-hmm.
If I see you selling books,
Uh-huh.
many of you sell books, authors of books.
Mm-hmm.
You're with Dr. Milligan. She's waiting on me to write my book. It's coming.
I hear this coming.
Yeah, right.
Write the book. Write the book.
Right. But I just want to say we have it in us.
Yeah, of course we
Everything
do.
we need, we already have.
Yes.
We just have to stop and just ask people. Networking is very important. I
Mm-hmm.
used Dr. Milligan. I said to her, this is what we're all doing. She's having us really to network with one another.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the guest speakers come on,
Yeah.
we're supposed to, if you can't afford their book or don't want to buy their book, at least send people to
Mm-hmm.
get the purchase the book. But we don't use our, I mean, it's real, just a little click. It's a little light.
We have this big advertising agency called social media. Okay, we don't even use that. Okay.
So
Tommaso, we got about a minute to close. So
right. We just have to do more within ourselves.
the thing is, who funds it? Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. We could actually fund our own with this kind of financing. Okay, use it for power instead of a check. Okay, make your own bank. Be your own bank. Okay, that's how they do it. Okay, they don't just get money and write a check. No, put it in a bank. Make out loans. Sell bonds. Okay, leverage your money. Money is leverage. Money is just not money. It's leverage. How they actually leverage it for us instead of everybody else. Go ahead.
And you were right about Kenya. My brother, bless his heart, he's gone on with the Lord. Not that old, the first Black mayor in Ventura County.
Okay.
And you would think way back slavery, we're just now having mayors in different major cities. His wife, he married a Kenyan.
Okay.
And, he has for their anniversary like 100 acres of land.
Yes.
It's not uncorporated. I mean, it's just trees, weeds, whatever. But I didn't know, because my sister-in-law know I'm a thinker with business. Everybody in the family, we just try to make money legally.
Okay.
So that's how we were raised. Make money, just look, make money. And I told her, she said, Barbara, I don't know whether you know this or not, but you can't just come to my country. You can't come to Kenya and just the stuff that you're doing. Because I do a lot of money, do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I said, why is that? I said, well, you and my brother have the land. See, I already figured out we got the land. I'm getting people with putting the pipes in, and that's what my brother told me. Because we really wanted to do a hotel.
Okay.
And my 2 nephews, my brother's not here, but I told my 2 nephews, no, we're going to get that land. That land is your dad's land. She can have as much as she want of it, but I just want some of the land.
Yeah.
But that's just the way I think.
And so you had something well fun and said, to Kenya, we actually come in and have to develop the whole 100 acres, okay? Got to leverage. Oh, listen. Because we have to do business, okay? And that's where reparations will actually come in. Do business, okay? That's all I'm saying. All right, Jamal, okay? That's the end. Thank everybody for coming. Look at this on YouTube, okay? Probably be on YouTube, okay? And think about reparations differently, okay? Start doing business and think about power instead of money, okay? Instead of comfort.
Okay.
Yes, you do. Like she said, 100 acres. You can do a lot with 100 acres in Kenya. Land, development, a hotel, farms, a whole bunch of stuff you can do. Hospitals, a bunch of stuff, okay? 100 acres, okay?
Great conversation. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. All right, good people.